on Twitter, a lot of people sharing this New York Times story. And I was like, didn't they run this a month ago? Why are they rerunning it? Well, they're not. It's just people are recirculating the story. From June 4th, 2023. Joe Biden, essentially, the inside the complicated reality of being America's oldest president. They're sharing it again all over the place because in Indonesia, Joe Biden did not go to dinner with world leaders. He was too tired. He was exhausted. The octogenarian president had had enough. And well, now he's in Europe for NATO's big summit, all the leaders getting together over dinner to talk privately. Biden bailed again. I'm starting to think it might not be his cocaine in the White House if he can't stay up for dinner. Or maybe this is the hedge. Maybe they're putting him to sleep so nobody suspects it's Joe Biden's cocaine. But he's not hanging out with the folks at dinner. It's starting to get even notice in the media. This is Mika Brzezinski on Morning Joe this morning. Oh, they're throwing this out. I'm listening to this, and it's striking to me, the commentary around Ron DeSantis right now is the people who don't like him say, well, this is him. And the people who like him say, this is the staff. This is Jeff Rowe, the consultant. This is the staff. This is some other external factor. It's not him. And you have Mika Brzezinski. This isn't Joe. This isn't the 80-year-old. This is the staff. He's 80. You've got to own it. And notice she said he making his congressional connections like anyone, not since Bill Clinton. She can't say George W. Bush, who very infamously wooed Democrats, including Ted Kennedy. Nope, she's got to go back to Clinton. Can't give Republicans, any of them, any credit. This is just fascinating, though, that they're starting to freak out about the age. And by the way, they should. I don't think it's a coincidence. I do not think it's a coincidence. These stories are coming at the same time polling shows Donald Trump is starting to eat in to Joe Biden's lead in the Real Clear Politics polling average. In fact, when I last checked, maybe I should check because it was only a few tenths of a point ahead, but Donald Trump was ahead. Now Biden's up a tenth of a point because of Reuters. The Reuters polling is bad for Joe Biden. It may put him ahead of Donald Trump barely, but his approval rating is 40%, and the economy remains everyone's top worry. And, I got to tell you, here's the problem for the Democrats on this. When you are lecturing Americans that, doggone it, don't you know you have it good? You're doing it wrong. There are a series of reports out, and we'll get to inflation. Inflation is still up, but trending down. But there are a series of stories out. In addition to concerns about Joe Biden, we've got the Joe Biden is the a-hole story that's out, that he's nasty to his staff. And all the media's like, oh, it's so good that Joe Biden's an abusive boss. It's so good it means he loves them. What is this? When Donald Trump was president and he would lose his temper with people, the media would do a series of stories on how awful he was. And now Joe Biden loses his temper on people and it means he loves them. And also, don't you know you have it good? Don't you know, you awful bigots, that your economy is good? You crackers in your economy, you're outpacing everybody, and you're ungrateful to Joe Biden. You are ungrateful. I don't think this works. You know, there's the old saying about Republicans and Democrats, or conservatives and liberals, that conservatives don't like humanity, but they like their neighbor, and liberals like humanity, but they really don't like their neighbor. And you kind of get this in the way the news is being shaped over the economy. All of these stories coming out about how good the economy is, and 70% of Americans don't like the way the economy feels to them, the way it works to them. It's still their top story. It's still their top concern. It's still the issue at the forefront of the American consciousness. And the Democrats are like, you stupid people, why don't you realize Joe Biden's done something good for you? You stupid, stupid Americans. Let me ask you something. Those of you up in Connecticut listening right now, the further to the east you get in Connecticut, you get away from New York, you get away from Bridgeport, you head to eastern Connecticut, where no major party candidate has come from in the last decade, interestingly enough, for a statewide office from eastern Connecticut. They've all come from to the west of Hartford. Do you all out in eastern Connecticut, do you really feel like the economy is working for you if you're not in finance, if you're not on Wall Street? Do you really feel like the economy is working for you? Can you find the workers? If you got a lawn care business in Connecticut working on the McMansions, are you finding all the workers you need? You're in Greenville, South Carolina. Our newest affiliate, WORD, Greenville, South Carolina. I may sneak up there this coming weekend. We'll be in the mountains. Is the economy working for you? We're not talking about one of the law firms downtown. We're talking about, are you an electrician, you're a plumber? Your costs are going up. So the people you're working for, their costs are going up and they're complaining more to you about how expensive things are. Is it really working for you? Can you find the staff you need? What about your kids? Are your kids getting a good education? Are your taxpayer dollars going to give your kids a good education? Or are your kids learning about the gender unicorn? When you head down towards Greenwood, you get past Anderson, you're down towards Ware Shoals, where my aunt lived down there. Rural South Carolina, gorgeous country, the Lake Greenwood area, Ware Shoals. Is it working for you? Do you feel when you go to the grocery store? One of the local Ingles there? Are you getting your value? When you buy your chuck roast for your pot roast, are you getting value out of it? Is it cheap? You've got a bunch of kids and they all drink milk. My gosh, the amount of milk my kids drink. How's your price for a gallon of milk these days? After all the inflationary increases, you know, the price of a gallon of milk, it's down about 10 cents from a high. You should feel good about that, you bigots. You awful, stupid, blue-collar rednecks. You should feel good about Joe Biden's economy. You are an ungrateful piece of garbage because you're not happy with Joe Biden. You want Trump or some Republican to come in because you're just a terrible person and you're ungrateful. Look at all the good that Grandpa Joe has done for you. I mean, it's not like he's treating you like a seventh grandchild. I mean, this is the problem for the Democrats. This is their tone when they talk about the economy now. You are supposed to feel grateful. You are supposed to feel good. You still have an expensive time filling up your car with gas, and they're trying to get rid of them. You're still going to the grocery store, and grocery prices are still expensive, and there's still stuff you can't find at the grocery store all these years later. Ladies, and your formula, maybe if you stopped having kids, you'd feel better about the world. It's your fault, not Joe Biden's fault. But suddenly the concerns are trickling in. Joe Biden and Donald Trump are essentially tied in the polling. Polls show that if the Republicans nominate anyone not named Donald Trump, that person's going to beat Joe Biden. Generic Republican crushes any named Democrat or generic Democrat right now. You find the ultimate generic Republican and put that person up to run against Joe Biden, he wins. That means Donald Trump has a good shot of winning. The Democrats are getting nervous. Sleepy Joe can't stay up in Europe to have dinner with the NATO leaders. He's tripping and falling over sandbags. It's the staff's fault. It's your fault his polling sucks. It's the staff's fault he falls over. It's never Joe Biden's fault. The media and the Democrats treat Joe Biden the way Joe Biden treats Hunter Biden. It's never his fault. He's had a hard life. You just got to love him, affirm him, take care of him, and prop him up. And if you don't, you're a bad person. What Americans want is some accountability. Americans really want accountability right now. They go to the grocery store and the Democrats tell them how good they have it. Look at the copious selections you have, except you don't have as many as you used to, and the ones you have are still more expensive. And they tell you should be grateful. Prices have come down. They're still not as low as they used to be. But they want you to be grateful, and they resent that you're not. It reminds me of that old East German poet. He wrote a poem. What was the name of the poem? Die Losung. It was by Bertolt Brecht. And this was the East German uprising in 1953. I've mentioned it before. It was critical of the communist government in East Germany. After the uprising of the 17th of June, the secretary of the Writers' Union had leaflets distributed on the Stalinallee, that's a road where all the Communist Party leaders lived, which stated that the people had squandered the confidence of the government and could only win it back by redoubling work quotas. Would it not be the case? Would it not be simpler for the government to dissolve the people and elect another? You got that? That was the view, the cynical view posed towards the East Germans. The East German government wishes it could get rid of the people and find another people, as opposed to getting rid of the government and finding another government. Right now, the people want to get rid of this government and find another government. And from the media to the Democratic Party, they wish to get rid of you and find a people grateful that their groceries are more expensive, grateful that their gas is more expensive, and grateful that their quality of life has declined. The Democrats want you to be grateful for your life sucking because in their view, it doesn't suck as much as it did last year, so you should be thankful. But you're not. So you, not Joe Biden or his age or his performance or his economy, you are the problem. And as long as the Democrats think that, the odds of them losing continues to go up.